The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Man, what is Moses doing to us right now?
Bro, I'm so hungry.
We starving.
Man, I should have died in Egypt.
We should have. All that food we left behind, the meats, cows, goats, cucumbers.
Man, my belly is biting.
Man, they got us in this desert to starve to death.
That's the truth.
Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven for you. The Israelites are to go out each morning and gather enough for that day. In this way, I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. On the sixth day, they are to prepare what they bring in, and it is to be twice as much as they gather on the other days.
People of Israel, I've heard every last one of you complain. But at the evening, you shall know that the Lord has brought you out of the land of Egypt. And in the morning, you shall see the glory of the Lord, for he hears your complaints against him. But why are you complaining against us? And truthfully, you're going to see this specifically when the Lord gives you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning when he gives you bread to eat and tell you are full. But what are we? Your complaints are not against us. Your complaints are against the Lord.
The Israelites can finally get to serve and worship their God in the desert. Those long, hard years of serving Pharaoh and the Egyptians were over. Now, as you would think, everything should be smooth sailing. However, the desert life was not exactly as the Israelites expected. In this episode, we'll delve into Exodus chapters 15 and 16. Please enjoy. All right. Welcome back to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Thank you guys for tuning in again this week. We're about to continue the story of Moses in the book of Exodus. We're going to pick up in Exodus 15. But before we start, I know we usually say this at the end, but, you know, people don't stick around for the credits.
I know I don't.
So I just want to shout out some of our social media pages. First of all, for anyone who's listening, you can also find us on YouTube. So please like, share, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. For those who are listening on YouTube, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And please leave a comment. It helps out our channel, helps out our page, helps us to grow our reach. Yep. And then you can also find us on Twitter at BOFA Pod. Instagram and TikTok, A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on both Instagram and TikTok. And you can also email us at abreathoffreshair@gmail.com. And also, we recently started a new series about a couple of weeks ago, our Fresh Air Facts. And you can find that on TikTok. You can find that on YouTube as well as YouTube Shorts. And you can find it on Instagram as well. So definitely check it out.
Yep.
So now we are in Exodus chapter 15. Mm-hmm. And the title of this chapter, at least in the NIV, is The Song of Moses and Miriam. Man.
It was a singing bunch.
I just picture like a Disney movie, but like we said before, like Disney almost based off of the Bible. Like we said that like in the Christmas episode, when it was just so much singing, and we was like, this reminds us like a Disney Christmas movie. We're like, oh, but where did they get it from?
Where would they get it from, bro?
Which
like,
one came first?
Why? Think about it, bro. Why, when you think of Christmas movies, it's always singing? Why? Because the nativity story, it was a bunch of singing. Like,
bunch of
like you
singing.
couldn't miss it. Like, seriously, you know what I'm saying? And like, that's not even a reach. Like, you might be like, no, they probably don't even. No, bro, literally in the nativity story, it's all singing. And so now when they have these Christmas stuff, they take Jesus out of it. They don't take out the singing too. Bro, I was watching a movie with a Christmas movie have nothing to do with Jesus, bro. But they mentioned the Star of Bethlehem, right? They never say Jesus said anything, bro. It's all about Santa, bro, right? And then they was singing joyful or something like that, bro. It's so like
Which is so interesting too. The majority of Christmas songs are Christian related Christmas songs.
yeah, a lot of them are like hymns. You know what I'm saying?
Straight
Like,
up hymns.
Yeah.
Hark the herald angels. Okay, anyway, we
we on a
digress.
we on a tangent, bro. Like,
We're fresh out the gate. But so now the song of Miriam, Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord. I will sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver has hurled into the sea. So just as a quick recap, as we saw in last episode, God had finally delivered the Israelites out of Egypt. And when the children of Israelite reached the Red Sea, God instructed Moses to raise up his staff into the water, and the waters separated, and the children of Israel was allowed to go across on dry land. And then after they got to the other side, God instructed Moses to do the same thing again, raise up his rod, and the waters came crashing back down, swallowing Pharaoh's soldiers and Pharaoh. And so now we see this is the aftermath of that, or I guess the results. And now the Israelites on the other side of the Red Sea, they're rejoicing because they got delivered from their captives.
so, all right. So we know Moses and Miriam. It says the song of Moses and Miriam, and this is after the fact they would have written this titling, right? But the first thing says, then Moses and the Israelites sang. So that means the Israelites were singing with them. This is the point I'm trying to make, right? And so like, I don't know if they were just in the moment and like this how they felt, like the Lord is my strength and my defense.
Man, David saying Psalms, David.
Yeah, he's
Even though like couple hundred years after I think it's about maybe like 2,000 years after this, right? But still, David was the singer.
Oh yeah.
The psalmist himself.
Oh yeah.
But he says, singing to a lot of new songs. I mean, and even like going back to the Christmas story, you can see like when these emotions and these feelings just hit them, they just burst out in song.
Yep.
But it's just interesting how it's seems so planned.
Yeah.
Were you meditating on these lyrics?
So that's what I was about to say.
Or did the Holy Spirit inspire you in the moment?
As a songwriter myself, you understand what I'm saying? So the text doesn't say that the Holy Spirit inspired them and they just all start singing together, you understand? But they sang the song together. So my thing is, probably this could have been a chant. You sing one line, everybody else sing the rest of the other line, type of thing. Or this could have been like a written thing, and I teach you all, and let's just sing and rejoice. And it might not take that long. You understand what I'm saying? Like you have all your possessions, so we got instruments. Like let's just, but there's like 1 million people though, bro.
I mean, at the same time too, it very well might be, someone start off singing and the Holy Spirit inspire one person, the next person just say, "Oh, your first hand, let me get a foot on my chest too." Hey, y'all got the beat still going? The little tambourines and thimbles still playing? I got this verse I got to get out myself.
I got some bars I got to get off. Let me get these bars off. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. And I feel like as regular people, I feel like just based on the Bible, I feel like we don't do this enough. You know what I mean? Like when I was young, and obviously like I have a creative gene within me, and like I just have to do this, right? But even when I was young, I used to write like gospel songs. You know what I'm saying? And that was also because I wrote a lot of other genres, but like I wasn't trying to be a gospel artist. It's just this how I feel. Like I literally feel like singing to God right now, so I write it. And I don't know. I feel like it's just something interesting to note now, because this is probably the first time we've seen this in the Bible. In the book of Genesis, I don't remember anybody singing, But now we see this, and then later on in the Bible, we can see whole books just dedicated to singing, Songs of Solomon, the Psalms. There's a lot of poetry and a lot of singing in there. And then obviously, like we say in the New Testament, we had some singing going on when Jesus came around. But I don't know, like this is interesting because now we see where the Israelites, they had just been liberated from their bondage. And now the first thing they're doing is singing, making a joyful noise, and really just exalting God's name via song after this victory.
Man, so it was so interesting, right? Like I just went back to that Psalms 40 and just like read it. And so I'm just going to read verse 3 and verse 4. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Blessed is the one who trusts the Lord, who does not look to the proud, those who turn aside from false gods. And I'm like, just so interesting and so fitting how this almost plays back, well, to the past, but how what the Israelites are going through right now too.
But bro, it's a lot of emphasis put on false gods, bro. It's a lot of emphasis put on idolatry. And when we see the 10 Commandments come on, the first thing God talking about have no other gods before. All right, hold on, bro. This just hit me just now, dog. Like for real. And we ain't get there yet, but even with the fresh air fox, I see a lot of people was very intrigued by that. You understand? I didn't get any pushback. I don't know if there will be any pushback, but I didn't get any. But I felt very empowered to say this because you can see where God is like, all right, Pharaoh, you don't know me. Why? You must need an introduction. Let me give you the best introduction I can give you. You understand what I'm saying? Then we see later on where the Hebrews, after the fact, they still holding on to their want or it's like a habit to include idols. We see when Israel wanted to go to Bethel and he said, yo, get rid of all of the idols. This is something that has been plaguing God's people for a very long time. Idolatry, idol worship. And I don't know if people notice it or not, but God is never happy when it comes to idols.
I mean, like, honestly, just having an idol or worshiping idols, that's almost you breaking 1 and 2 right there. The first one, you shall have no other gods before me. And the second one, you shall not make idols.
Graven it, right?
Graven images.
That's why, bro. That's why it hit me so hard.
It's like 1 and 2, boom, boom,
bro. It's like straight up, bro. Like,
hey, so don't have no other god before me. And guess what? Don't have no other god. Period. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Just in case you need to understand.
Right. Just in case you missing it.
Oh my,
bro. So I ain't gonna lie, bro. I just want to stick here for a little bit, bro, because I wear I have a chain, like a gold chain, right? And I've been conflicted because I don't have a pendant to put on it. You understand? I want to put Jesus on it, but I don't want to put that face. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that's a graven image, and that's where the devil get to remix
everything.
You understand? Because he's like, all right, no, bro, this Jesus, bro, this ain't no graven image. But that's literally a graven image. Because first of all, we don't have no pictures of Jesus. There's not one picture of Jesus, bro. There was not cameras back then.
Not even that. No one even decided to make a painting of him too. Because I mean, there was still artwork back then. But you know what I'm saying. But I'm just
that's what I'm saying.
Further validating your point.
No, that's a fact. Because they did have sculptures from back then, so they could have definitely captured his image, right? Nobody did that. And then at the same time, Jesus was poor. You nobody doing that for a poor person, bro. You understand what I'm saying? You just as a poor, helpful person. You understand? You don't have status, so that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is, bro, I can kind of understand the position of the Israelites, bro. Why? Because they just left Egypt. Right? This is a land that is no secret. They worship, it's polytheism going on in Egypt. Many gods. They worship many gods. This is no fact. Even if you just want to, from a historic standpoint, just Google ancient Egypt.
Just check out our last 2 episodes.
Like for real, like no lie. Oh, if you check out our last 2 episodes, you'll get a in-depth understanding of
just check out our last 2 episodes.
The number of gods that they have, right? And so these people just left Egypt, a land that was filled with this for about 80 years. It's safe to say less than 100 years. The last 100 years or less, they were enslaved. So what I'm saying is their choice, they didn't have many choices then, right? But even before then, they spent like 300 to 320 years just living there. These Egyptians don't know God. They don't understand. The 10 Commandments ain't even out yet. They don't understand how graven images are a slap in the face to God. But one thing they are able to do is to accept a victory and to accept comfort and convenience. Oh, you get me out of bondage? Oh yeah, the Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. He is my God and I will praise him. My father's God and I will exalt him. Listen to what they say. My father's God. It is a fact that, like, even if I don't know you, I know you are the God of our forefathers. Everybody in the Israelite community respects Abraham. Oh, but they forget God, but they forget Abraham. You understand? When God come to Moses and Moses was like, who are you? And he's like, bro, I'm the God of your father, Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. How you don't know God, but you know them? You understand what I'm saying? And so, like, it just go to show, like, where the priorities was with the Israelites. But I wanted to point this out specifically because it's going to be a drastic shift from this point on. And it's not going to shift back to this point for a very long time. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll just continue reading verse 3. The Lord is a warrior. The Lord is his name. Bro, see, they know his name in the book of names now. Verse 4. Pharaoh's chariots and his army, he has hurtled into the sea. The best of Pharaoh's officers are drowned in the Red Sea. The deep waters have covered them. They sank to the depths like a stone. Your right hand, Lord, was majestic in power. Your right hand, Lord, shattered the enemy. In the greatness of your majesty, you threw down those who opposed you. You unleashed your burning anger. It consumed them like stubble. By the blast of your nostrils, the water piled up. It's the imagery here. I don't know. Like, it's funny.
It's a song.
Yeah. The surging waters stood up like a wall. The deep waters congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy boasted, I will pursue. I will overtake them. I will divide the spoils.
They making fun now.
Right? I will divide the soils, they say. I will gorge myself on them. I will draw my sword and my hand will destroy them. But you blew with your breath and the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Among the gods, who among the gods is like you? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in glory, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand, and the earth swallows your enemies. In your unfailing love, you will lead the people you have redeemed. In your strength, you will guide them to your holy dwelling. The nations will hear and tremble. Anguish will grip the people of Philistia. This is interesting to me because they go on to mention people now. The chiefs of Edom will be terrified. The leaders of Moab will be seized with trembling. The people of Canaan will melt away. Terror and dread will fall on them. And this coming out of their own mouths, bro.
You know what's fun? Anyway, like Edom and Moab, they descendants of Esau.
Facts.
Keep going though.
Yeah. By the power of your arm, they will be as still as stone. Until your people pass by, Lord. Until the people you brought pass by. You will bring them in and plant them on the mountain of your inheritance. The place, Lord, you made for your dwelling. The sanctuary, Lord. Your hands established. The Lord reigns forever and ever. When Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and horsemen went into the sea, the Lord brought the waters of the sea back over them. But the Israelites walked through the sea on dry ground. Then Miriam the prophet, I didn't know she was a prophet, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women followed her with timbrels and dancing.
Turn up for Jesus.
Miriam sang to the Lord, for he is highly exalted, both horse and driver. He has hurled into the sea.
Praise session.
So I feel like this is important because so last week we talked about the Passover and how God told them, you guys have to make this a specific tradition now to remember when the angel of death passed over and you guys were saved while the Egyptians were where their firstborn died. And so here it is, God laying down floor plans for them. We can see it's a bit of rehabilitation happening for the Israelites because they had just spent 400 years in an unknown land. Now, rewind back to the ending of Genesis. The Israelites were still God's people. They still worship God and knew God, but they moved there because of the famine and because Joseph had such a high rank, it would have been more advantageous for them to live there. But my question is, Now, in the very next book, we see a different Israelite. Granted, it was 400 years later, and I'm only saying that based on when God told Abraham, your descendants will live in a foreign land for 400 years and they'll be enslaved there. It's 400 years later, and these guys appear to not know God at all. You understand what I'm saying? Why is that? I'm thinking this is because during your time living among the Egyptians, you started to conform to the ways of the Egyptians. I can elaborate on this point, but we'll see this being revealed as
we go through the book.
As we go through, but just put a pin in that. They started to adopt and to follow the customs of the Egyptians. And we've seen in the Bible where God's people decided, I don't want to be a peculiar people. I want to be the idol worshiping people. And that resulted in them being placed in bondage. This has happened multiple times to the Hebrews, the Israelites. This has happened multiple times. And I feel like this is what happened now. You guys, this group of people decided that they're not going to be devout to God, but they're going to turn away from God and intermarry and just worship idols. And as a result of that, you leave yourself open to the dangers of that. Like God decide, like I'm not gonna protect you. You guys have to be punished for the way you live, you know. And now, so we fast forwarding. You guys cried out. You were enslaved, and now God is saying, I've heard your cry. Let's make it right now. Let's get back on it. Now let's just teach each other and let's just learn together. The first order of business, let's sing praises to God. Moses and Miriam, the prophetess, they led out in song. You understand? We see where Moses started the first part, Miriam ended it. And so now, I'm like, the Israelites, you've admitted that this is the God of my fathers, and this is his name, Lord. So you can't claim ignorance at this point.
And you also admit he's better than all the other gods. Like, even in the song, it was just, who is like our God? Who is like the God? Like,
and I understand, I could literally see why this song made the Bible, bro. This is an important song because you have to understand that. Because I wanted to just be like, oh, the Israelites didn't know no better. They just been slaves for 400 years. But the fact of the matter is, they wasn't even enslaved for all 400 of them years. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Moses was born like shortly after the slavery start. Moses isn't 400 years old, you know? And so, bro, to some extent, bro, some of y'all just choose not to follow God. Like, y'all know who God are. Some of y'all know who God is. You understand? When the elders came to met with Moses, why the elders coming? Because they know who God is. You understand? They the spiritual leaders.
And the matter of fact, the Jochebed really...
Oh yeah, Jochebed. You understand?
And still that in Moses too, yeah.
Exactly. So you can't just say, oh, like these guys just completely, they didn't know anything. No. And like that was my demeanor. So right now, I'm just really trying to lay the floor upon and paint the picture for who the Israelites really are. They are a people their forefathers worship God, and they know that they are the peculiar people, but they don't hold God at a high regard. Now, God gave them every reason to hold them at a high regard. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, everyone before this had never seen God control the earth. Like, you understand? Like, Noah saw it, but no one else saw what they saw with the plagues.
Yep.
This is God over the earth. The guy controls everything. You've witnessed that. You've had an experience with God where all of us live in the same country, but one side of the country is being destroyed. The other side is pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, you would think that they reverence God in a different light after experiencing this thing. But now we see, right after this singing, the next thing we see is controversy. So verse 22, then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went into the desert of Shur. For 3 days they traveled in the desert without finding water. When they came to Marah, they could not drink its water because it was bitter. That is why the place is called Marah.
You would think they would know.
Right. But you know who may have known?
Moses.
Because
I mean, if you look at a map, this point is between where he would have to travel when he went to Egypt.
Exactly. So if you're traveling through the desert, so Moses left Egypt, went to Midian. You have to pass the mount that they're going to. You have to pass Mount Sinai to get there, right? And so Moses, this isn't like he wasn't in a car. He needed to get water at some point. Like it's not that much water. You can't carry that much water this whole time to sustain you. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to find water at some point in time. So Moses would have already known that this is the bitter water. You understand what I'm saying? But it's like, what could Moses do if the pillar of fire and the pillar of clouds is leading me?
Is guiding you there. Yep.
Exactly.
Like, gotta go where God leads.
So here we can see Moses probably just very anxious, right?
Yeah.
Verse 24, the people grumbled against Moses. What are we to drink?
Imagine Moses. But see, Moses was so humble. That's the thing about it. Like, he was so humble because we see the thing what he immediately did afterwards. He ain't even grumble. He just said, God. Moses cried to God. You know what I'm saying?
We need water.
What am I going to do? God said, showed him a piece of wood. Put the wood in the water, and the water became fit to drink.
Okay. So God's still making a way miraculously for them. You put a piece of wood in the water, and now it's not bitter anymore.
Piece of wood.
You understand what I'm saying? So like the Israelites.
Don't try that at home, folks.
Right. The Israelites are well acquainted with God. But like to me, it's like a mindset type of situation. Like it's like in their mind, they just really fixated on the way that they were living before while they were in Egypt.
Oh, we're about to get to that too. We're about to really see that because now we see the Lord. The Lord issued a ruling and instruction for them to put them to the test. He said, if you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all of his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. Then they came to Elam, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there near the water.
Nice.
12 springs. That's a lot of springs. I mean, it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, though. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of people. But I mean, like, just going back to that point, like they were well acquainted with God, but I think it still comes down to a matter of the heart and a matter of just doubt. Because now, like, just like how you laid the groundwork, they had the opportunity to learn of God and learn about God, but they denied it for the last however much decades. Let's just say decades. So now you still ain't familiar with this God. You seeing what he doing? You seeing what he doing? Because we clearly see they see the plagues. So you see the plagues. You saw the water getting split open, and I ain't justifying them because these some stubborn people as we gonna continue seeing. But to me, they just have a lot of faith issues now.
But now let's consider this though, bro. They have faith issues, right? But at the same time, if everything was peachy keen, you wouldn't even know they had faith issues. So if God did just take them straight to the land of milk and honey, we wouldn't have even get to this. But it's like, why is God even allowing them to be in the desert, wondering, trying to find water? When you find water, it's nasty water. Why is God even not allowing that? We can see now, God permitted that to happen, and through it, we can see God making a way. So sometimes you go through stuff in life, bro. Sometimes God puts you through the hot water in order for him to provide a solution. And once he provides the solution, what naturally should happen is you saying, thank you for providing that solution. And I now know that when I have a situation that I cannot control, God is the one to provide the solution.
Man, it's so interesting because it's like the obstacles we encounter, they should lead us to God. Like we should go to God seeking help. But half of the times, most people, and sometimes I'm guilty of this too, instead of like going to God for help, we go to God complaining.
Yep.
So instead of this bringing us closer to God, this almost starts driving us further away because we're going there with ungrateful hearts and ungrateful spirits. Like, because now you see the people complain, they reach this obstacle, the people complain. They're like, what are we supposed to do? We ain't got no water. Moses is like, God, can you help me? I'm in a situation where I need your help. So like Moses shows like, hey, when you get these obstacles and these unfavorable encounters in life, you're supposed to go seek the source and get help and get renewed instead of
complaining.
First instance complaining.
Because I already say my story a couple times. And like to the people who don't listen to every single episode, I am going to summarize it. I have been in a situation where nothing was going my way for months on months on months. And I was in a financial bind. Like I was in a serious bind. And like, I'm I do not know how to make it. And this was my introductory to adulting. You understand what I'm saying? Because I had just left college. And it's just the thing. When you down bad in college, if you have friends, they can help you. You understand? Like your friends, my friends have done a lot for me. You understand? Like, and that's why I try to pay things forward because I know I can't even pay all of them back type of situation, But I was complaining, and my fiance had to let me know this is not gonna resolve it. This is not the route to take. You understand what I'm saying? So when I look at the Israelites, I want to talk about them. I want to criticize them. I want to criticize them badly, bro. You understand? Because it's easy to nitpick, but at the same time, it's like they might have more faith than me. Because I probably wouldn't have lasted in this environment. You just leaving Egypt, a city, a very wealthy city. Now, granted, you were the lesser in the wealthy city, but now you in the middle of nowhere.
You still living in the best part of the land.
Yes, that's a fact. And then even let's subtract those last 80 to 100 years where they were enslaved. You had the best of the land, and then you just was living the life too. You know what I'm saying? And so now we can see where they left that, even though it's like in the world of what have you done for me lately? Lately, they wasn't living that life. But they rather be enslaved than to be in the desert needing, because it's like in their mind, let me show you how crazy it is, bro. Ain't none of them die yet.
Nope.
You understand what I'm saying?
God has spared them from the plagues, brought them out unscathed.
You in the desert looking for water.
Man, God just keep going.
God give you water. So I don't know if this is far-fetched, bro. But you don't think that if you get hungry one day, that God will give you food? You know what I mean? That's as simple as that.
But I ain't God just make a promise to you just saying like,
bro,
hey, if y'all just listen to me.
If y'all obey me, I ain't gonna do you like I do their lips. I am actually the opposite. I'm the God who heals you.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, they just ain't feeling that, bro, because like at the end of the day, it's a mindset thing, bro. Like me going through this, bro, I was embarrassed when someone had to tell me to stop complaining. I was embarrassed. That was a hard pill to swallow. I was upset when she told me that, bro. She told me that on my birthday.
Ouch.
My birthday, bro, ruined my birthday. But trust me, bro, I apply that. I apply that, bro. And I be put in situations now, and I try to have a positive mindset. But when I feel like a lot of times that's a learned behavior. It could be times when God teach it to you. You can reject it and keep complaining though. It's quite easy, and we're gonna see that with the Hebrews. One other thing I'd mention though, I always look at the Hebrews as a microcosm of God's people during any time. It's gonna be a lot of people who would prefer to live in the world, who's going to adapt to the world, and it's gonna be a lot of people who stepping over the people who trying to get you closer to God. It's gonna be a lot of people complaining. It's going to be a lot of people not understanding that it's God who bringing it. Bro, God literally brought them to this point. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, this isn't...
Fire.
Right. A pillar of fire led y'all to be in the wilderness without food and water. You understand what I'm saying? Why? This ain't the same God who does inspire the pastors to say it's yeah every year. It can't be. You understand what I'm saying? Because, bro, let's think about it, bro. If God know these people who lack faith, God, y'all could already been to the promised land, bro. Y'all could have taken the shortcut, but y'all would have had to go through the Philistines. But God know y'all ain't have that type of faith yet. So what we could do? We could take the long route because this building your faith. God could have told Moses from he killed that man or from before he killed the man, God could have told Moses, go to Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go. But Moses needed to go in Midian to develop and to become more humble so that he could be the leader that he is. During that time, I saw Moses was like, man, I wish I had some of the king's food. Or I wish I had a cooked meal, my chef. You know what I mean? I wish I could go and do this. I broke. I'm a shepherd now. But at the same time, sometimes God has put you through stuff just to build your character. And to you, it don't be as glamorous and as flamboyant as you want your life to be. Like, people want, when Jesus come on earth, the Pharisees was like, bro, this can't be the Messiah, bro. The Messiah coming on a throne, bro. He gonna be the king, and we gonna be the big nation on earth. We gonna be them guys now, bro. We've been enslaved for too long now. When the Messiah really come, he could do like how God do in Egypt. That's what they was expecting Jesus to do. Break them from bondage and say, no, we's the guy. And so people could fear your God. Not fear and respect, like fear, like type of thing. But they see this humble carpenter probably wasn't fresh. Jesus probably didn't have the drip, he wasn't fly. You understand what I'm saying? He wasn't a guy who this guy wasn't rich. You understand what I'm saying? It's a poor guy, but he grew up poor. And he ain't had no house, he ain't had nothing to his name. They asked him to pay taxes. Jesus was like, I mean, shoot, all right, go in the water, go catch a fish, and the fish can give you that. You see what I'm saying? Like, he might not even have no money on him. It's like, I could provide a way because I am Jesus. You know what I mean? And so when they saw that, when the Pharisees saw that, they in their mind, they're like, this can't be the guy, bro.
This can't be the guy we're waiting on thousands of years.
You understand what I'm saying? So, like, bro, people have these expectations of God, bro. And when God don't give it to you in the way where you be most exalted, sometimes you're like, no, but this the devil, bro. You understand? But the devil bringing me through this, bro. You see they saying these hard times, Lord, save me. You go to complain to the same person who giving you this. It's a blessing God giving you, and you complaining about it type of situation, you know? And it's a mentality thing. I feel like above all things, God just wants us to go to heaven. Like, I don't think God care if we live a happy, not happy, because that doesn't depend on like your status or whatever. You understand? You can be happy with nothing, you can be happy with everything type of situation. But I don't think God wants us to live like this live life to the fullest type of thing, bro. At the end of the day, God saying, bro, it literally said in the New Testament, bro, if your eyes offend you, gouge them out, bro. I'd rather you go to heaven blind than to be on earth with two functioning eyes and you sinning and you going to hell type of situation. But who want to be blind? Who want to choose that? You see what I'm saying? Who want to be disabled? You understand? But if doing this can help you get to heaven, that's a risk God willing to take, and we can see that. So just to progress, because I feel like I tangent too much already. So we on chapter 16
Chapter
now.
16.
Right. The whole Israelite community set out from Elim and came to the desert of Sin. Whoa. Which is between Elim and Sinai. On the 15th day of the second month after they had come out of Egypt. So this only, bro, they only been like 45 days, like 45, 46 days out of Egypt. In the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. 30 days, like, let's say 45 days ago, we were singing. You understand? We were singing, this is our God, blah, 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 blah. Nah, it's Moses and Aaron. Moses and Aaron. Verse 3, the Israelites said to them, if only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. They rather die, bro. They was like, bro, I wish I didn't paint my doorpost with the blood of the lamb during the Passover, because I'm the firstborn. I rather to die, or I rather to go outside when there was raining fire and thunder and all that stuff. How brazen that is?
But it just shows, like, when they reached any little bit of hardship that was slightly different than what they experienced in Egypt, they were ready to run back. And this even just reminds me of our Sodom and Gomorrah episode, but like, how quick are we eager to run to where God is pulling us from? Because this is another example of that. Like, they are so eager to go back to Egypt, where just like 5 chapters ago, you guys were complaining that, oh, Pharaoh just made it harder on us to get these bricks, but you're ready to go back to that just because you was eating a little bit better. Like, you don't see the blessings that you have right in front of your eyes, the blessings you're experiencing right now. You just say, like, I reached this slight little road bump. Like, you just point out, God just provided them water. Throw a piece of wood in the water, and the water became fit to drink. And so now,
so, like, essentially, you don't really lack, you know. It's just you can't see that you don't lack. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't see the water around, but you don't know. You have a water purifier right there, right above you in heaven, like, or right among you, God. You know what I mean? And at the same time, you have food, bro. You have a food supplier right there, but only you can't see it. You understand what I'm saying? You can't see it, and that's the difference. And so, like I said, I feel like the Hebrews, and I can keep saying this the whole time, I feel like the people during this time are a microcosm of God's people even today. Because how much times the solution being God is right in front of us, but we still complaining because of the things that we could see. Faith is the evidence of things faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. So if just because you can't see something, that don't mean that ain't there, bro. Just because you can't see the possibility and the option that God given you, that don't mean it don't exist. To the Israelites, they lack faith. That is a fact. So to them, the food and the water that they need did not exist. But it did exist. They just couldn't see it. They couldn't see that because literally they complain, they get mad at Moses. Moses cried out to God, and it's just like that.
Instantly.
Just like that. And y'all could probably, we could have just cut out the middleman. We could have just say, hey, let's pray and worship God. And he would provide it for us. But they didn't have that mindset at all. You know what I mean? And I feel like I guilty of that. That this happened to me. And I ain't gonna say it's a little inconvenience, but if it's some inconvenience that really...
It's happened to everybody, bro.
But if it's some inconvenience that really, really affected me, I ready to ignore every single thing else that ain't enough to do with this. You know what I mean? If something happened in my job, I ready to forget how much God blessed me outside of my job. Oh, God just give me this and da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Oh, woe is me. You see what I'm saying? And then I just be embarrassed, bro. Like in the Bible, we say shame, like a shame. Like I just be shame when God take this away, thinking about how I act. Bro, you don't have to act like that, but you do too much.
And then it's like when you see the blessing that you could have had if you didn't complain.
Bro.
Or how quickly you could have had this blessing.
And that's the truth. And then a lot of times you don't see what you could have had if you didn't complain. You see what I'm saying? And that's the part where God just be looking at us and shaking his head like, bro, you could have had this. I was setting you up for this, bro. Imagine, bro. Imagine if you setting your son up for something great, but you put him through a test, right? And he complain and he carry you on bad, bro. And he cause you have to re-navigate. You know, like you trying to get him. Let's say you trying to get him. This gonna be a shallow thing, but let's say you trying to get him a Bentley, bro. But he complaining, man, I need something to ride now. Right? And you know you got the Bentley waiting for him in 3 months. But right now, since he needs something now,
he gets a Civic.
He get like the box Civic, them old Civic. You know what I mean? Like them 80, them 90. You see, they saying he get one of them type of vibe, and like he'd be like, all right, thank you, because I just needed a whip. But then if you'd have shown the Bentley, he'd have been like, no, man, I didn't mean that XYZ. You see what I'm saying? Like, and that's a rare analogy, but I feel like that's what happens. That's what happens a lot of times. But it's just that we don't have the evidence. We don't have the sight. We can't see these things. So it's like to us, it don't exist. But faith is literally the opposite of that. It's the evidence of things that you don't see.
It definitely is. Which verse you left off at?
I think 3.
3? Okay, so then Moses said, Then the Lord said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven for you.
Let me say one more thing, because I think I stopped in the middle of it. It said, there we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into the desert to starve this entire assembly to death.
They had it pretty good as slaves.
I'm like, what type of slaves that is, bro? All you could eat?
Pretty good. Pretty good. But and it goes again to show they were so accustomed to one thing that God showed them something slightly different. And the first thing they did was complain.
See, but bro, one thing, bro, and I'm glad for this because like we can't ignore the fact that God literally putting them through inconvenience. God literally inconveniencing them. You see what I'm saying? Because God could have do all this from before y'all even ask, bro. But like we know y'all lack faith. If I keep pampering y'all, how is that gonna help y'all lack of faith? You understand what
y'all actually know who I am.
Right?
You just know me for all the good. But it's like you're not really earnestly trying to build a relationship with me. It's like a parent who spoils their child.
Right. So I giving y'all the opportunity to talk to me, but y'all still rather. Right, they giving Moses and Aaron the smoke. Moses and Aaron doing the same thing they doing, just following. You know what I mean? But yeah, bro, it's crazy. The Israelites, bro.
So I'm picking up in verse 4. Then the Lord said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. In this way, I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. See, again, God sends another test. On the 6th day, they are to prepare what they bring in. They are to prepare what they bring in, and that is to be twice as much as they gather on the other days. So Moses and Aaron said to all the Israelites, in the evening you will know that it was the Lord who brought you out of Egypt. And in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your grumbling against him. Who are we that you should grumble against us?
Right,
Moses
so he making it clear.
Yeah, like, no. Y'all, all this complaining y'all doing this thing to me and Aaron. Just before God. You will know that it was the Lord when he gives you meat to eat in the evening and the bread you want in the morning, because he has heard your grumbling against him. Who are we? you are not grumbling against us, but against the Lord.
For real. Some things have to be said.
Moses said, like, check yourselves now. Y'all giving all this hostility towards me. But guess what? And then that's the next thing. Moses like, I'm being led by this pillar of fire too. Don't mind me being the figurehead. Now it's God who is leading us. It is God who is providing for us.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just like y'all. I just in charge of y'all, but I in the same boat as y'all. Y'all ain't got nothing to eat. Guess what? I ain't got nothing to eat either.
So this is the thing, right?
But Moses is so humble with it. He ain't gonna present it like this.
No, see, because if this was me, I was gonna say, hold on, bro. Hold on now, bro. Listen to me.
I say, well, look at this guy. Talk
Yeah,
to that.
no. See, because you ain't want to do that now. You want to talk to me crazy, but you ain't want to talk to him crazy. You see what he's do though. You see what I said? You see what he's do to his enemies now. But I feel like that's Moses showing them now. That's like, to me, that's like the Moses equivalent of when someone CC their boss on an email.
Oh,
you
boy.
understand what I
Don't even
said?
get me started.
Because he like, bro, you giving me the smoke, bro, but I'm literally only doing what is procedure. You understand what I'm saying? So now he CC God on this email. You know, so we like, bro, now God is going to provide for you all. And here's why. Here's what you should do. You should look at this provision and say, truly, this is the God who brought me out of Egypt. Moses trying to condition them into understanding how to reverence God and who God is. Like, this ain't just a random person. This ain't like a silent investor, bro. Like, this is the owner, bro. This is the CEO. Like, this is the founder. And he's trying to connect the dots. You are going to get this food, the meat that you asked for, or the abundance of meat that you asked for. You are going to get the bread that you asked for. And when you do that, you are going to say that this is the God who brought us out of Egypt. And then for the record, you have complained against him, which is the reason why he's providing for you, because he's heard your cry. And I'm not providing for you because at the end of the day, you wasn't complaining against me. You was complaining to me. You think you was complaining about me, but no, you was just telling me.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
And then so we see then that Moses told Aaron, say to the entire community, come before the Lord, he has heard your grumbling. And when Aaron was speaking to the Israelites, the entire community, they looked toward the desert and the glory of God, well, the glory of the Lord was appearing in the cloud. So now we see they was grumbling, and Moses said, Aaron, gather them all together. And God, came showing his glory in the clouds again, saying like, it's me who y'all grumble against. The Lord said to Moses, I have heard the grumbling of the Israelites. Tell them at twilight they will eat meat. In the morning they will be filled with bread. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. And we see that evening, quail came and covered the camp. And in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the dew was gone, thin flakes like frost on the ground appeared on the desert floor. When the Israelites saw that, they said to each other, what is this? For they did not know what it was. I mean, kind of, it's interesting. It's an interesting way to give us bread. Moses said to them, it is the bread the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Everyone is to gather as much as they need. Take an omer. And an omer, just for, I guess, fun facts, is about like 3 pounds. So they was to take about 3 pounds of this. And I lost my verse.
Take an omer for each person you have in your tent. So verse 17 you have now.
The Israelites did as they were told. So some gathered much, some gathered little. And when they measured it by the omer, the ones who gathered much did not have too much, and the ones who gathered little did not have too little. Everyone had gathered just as much. This is the next thing too. God was like, okay, bro, I tell y'all how much it take. All right. Y'all want to take a lot? Want to be big? Want to be greedy?
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Oh, let's put it in the weigh station. Bing! 1 omer. Dang, I thought I got more.
Exactly.
The person saying, okay, I don't think I need that much. Bing, 1 omer. Well, guess I got just as much as I need.
Exactly.
And then Moses said to them, no one is to keep any of it until morning. So essentially, get what you need for today, and that's it. Don't be trying to start us overnight saying you lazy, saying you don't want to get up in the morning early to get no manna. Nah, Moses say, get what you need for today, and then tomorrow, we got to do it again. Because it coming every day. And I just want to, God was sending this for them every day. Like, this isn't just no one-time thing.
Bro, you got
every day except we're going to get to the one day it didn't come, but.
Okay, yeah, and let's just get there and then we go expound from there.
So we see every morning, everyone gathered as much as they needed. And when the sun grew hot, it melted away. On the 6th day, they gathered twice as much, 2 omers for each person. And the leaders of the community came and reported this to Moses. He said to them, the Lord this is what the Lord has commanded. Tomorrow is to be a day of Sabbath rest, the holy Sabbath to the Lord, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. So bake what you want to bake and boil what you want to boil. Save whatever is left and keep it until morning. So they saved until the morning, and as Moses commanded, and it did not stink or get maggots in it. Eat it today, Moses said, because today is the Sabbath to the Lord. You will not find any of it on the ground. 6 days you are to gather it, but on the seventh day, the Sabbath, there will not be any.
And so that's what I was going to say, bro. So God helping them with exercises to get their minds to understand the practices that should be in place or that you guys should follow. You understand? You have to go and get food every day. But we don't do that. I mean, when I'm being less conservative with my diet, I'll eat out every day. Like I'll eat fast food every day. So like to me, that's my hunt. That's me hunting for food every day. Like just looking, what do I want today, right? But bro, normal people go to the grocery store, they buy as much food as they want or as they can afford, and they plan to eat from just based on that. Ain't nobody's go to the grocery store every day.
Every day. Oh, yeah, I'm going to cook some honey garlic chicken today. Let me go get the honey, the garlic, just enough chicken.
Like to me, that ain't even wise, bro. That ain't even like efficient with your time. Like
then
why?
Tomorrow I'm doing stir fry.
Yeah,
Go back to the
you see what I say? Like, bro, nobody got the time for that. Why did God tell him to do this every day? Because you have to understand what work is, right? But you have to understand the difference between working and the Sabbath. This thing is going to spoil every day. If you try to keep it, it's going to spoil. That is going to force you to go out and get this every single day.
Every day.
But now, one day out of the week, it don't spoil. The 6th day, because you have to gather twice as much for the 6th day and the 7th day. And so the residual from the 6th day is they roll over to the 7th day and it's still good. Now, if this didn't happen, you wouldn't it would be irrelevant for gathering on the 6th day. If you could gather any day, if you could hoard it any day, preparing for the Sabbath would be irrelevant essentially. So here it is. If God providing this food, like literally dropping the food every day, he can make sure you keep the Sabbath, bro. You understand what I'm saying? God ain't put you in a position to work on the Sabbath. And funny thing about this is, this is probably the second time the Sabbath is mentioned in the Bible. But this is before the 10 Commandments.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying?
A couple more chapters away from before they become, but it's still showing, like how you say, like these were things that were in place from creation.
Yes.
From creation, especially the Sabbath. We know the Sabbath for sure was there from creation. But these are things that were in place from creation. They were just passed down verbally from generation to generation, generation to generation. But now we see these people have been so disconnected from God for such a long time now. Like we said, I think it was in like 2 or 3 episodes ago, God was like, okay, I need to reintroduce myself and my ways to you people because you've been apart from me and my standards for so long. I need to reintroduce this to you guys. And so now you see, okay, step 1. This might be like step 3 at this point, but let me reintroduce you to the Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Let me reintroduce you to the Sabbath. Let's start there. Well, like I said, step 3 or 4, but we're baby steps.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see where God just really spoon feeding it to them. You know what I mean? You don't gotta think, bro. You don't gotta think about what can happen if you don't prepare for the Sabbath.
And we see like some of the people thought God was playing. So we see picking up in verse 27. Nevertheless, some of the people went on the 7th day to gather it, but they found none. The Lord said to Moses, how long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my instructions? Man, I could come back to that. Bear in mind, the Lord has given you the Sabbath. That is why on 6 days he gives you bread for 2 days.
On the 6th day, yeah.
Oh yeah, on the 6th day he give you bread for 2 days. Everyone is to stay where they are on the 7th day. No one is to go out. So the people rested on the 7th day. The people of Israel called the bread manna. It was like white coriander seed and tasted like wafers made with honey. Manna is something I really want to know how it tastes.
I can tell you one thing. I was supposed to mention this off mic, bro. There's a certain place, there's a buffet in the United States, and they have these rules, bro. The roll's sweet.
You ain't Golden Corral.
I didn't want to name drop, bro. I did love them rolls as a child, boy.
Wait, when you see them sweet rolls, it's the first place my mind
Oh
goes.
man, you understand? So like, cause I'm thinking, honey, you. All right, so them rolls, they might have some honey on it, like like how they like kind of brush it over and stuff like that. But before people was using sugar, everything was honey. You see what I say?
Yeah, honey.
So like when I think about like bread that's sweet and thing, that's my point of reference. I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. But
I'm like God himself dropping this out. But I'm gonna just finish this out and we could elaborate on our closing thoughts, I guess. But Moses said, this is what the Lord has commanded. Take an omer of manna and keep it for the generations to come so they can see the bread I gave you to eat in the wilderness when I brought you out of Egypt. Interesting. So Moses and Aaron take a jar and put an omer of manna in it and then placed it before the Lord to be kept for generations to come. As the Lord commanded Moses, Aaron put the manna with the tablets of the covenant of the Lord so that it might be preserved. The Israelites ate manna for 40 years until they came to the land that was settled. They ate manna until they reached the border of Canaan. So that part right is a little bit of foreshadowing, but just saying what happened. But yeah, so, the manna was placed in the ark with the tablets.
I just find it so interesting how they just go from real time to like fast forwarding and like Exodus and stuff like that. So, bro, let's just reflect on what we say. And I feel like I need to be better at like not spoiling, like, because this story is so long, bro.
Oh yeah, but we're in it for the long haul now,
bro. For real, bro. And at the end of the day, I like to reference the Israelites, these Israelites. So now it's hard to reference these Israelites when you talk about these Israelites.
Yeah.
You see what I said? But as we go forward, it could become easier because then I could like reference the past versions of them or whatever. But we see how Moses had a transformation. You understand what I'm saying? He went from a hard-headed guy who didn't know the Lord to somebody who was humble and just long-suffering. Now we have the Hebrews. They seem to be very stubborn. You understand what I'm saying? God is literally doing everything so that you guys can understand the practices we need to go through. I'm spoon feeding you. And then guess what? You guys gonna fail, but guess what? You ain't gonna have an option to fail. You're gonna fail in that you're gonna try to collect manna on the Sabbath, but it ain't gonna be no manna to collect on the Sabbath because it's a principle. The laws of nature are going to obey my Sabbath, and so will you. You understand? But you still have to understand that, and you still have to get you still have to build our relationship with God. One thing I want to mention right now is that we've seen in the New Testament, there are people who are with Jesus. And when I say people, I'm really talking specifically about Judas, who was with Jesus, but still ended up betraying him. It was people who was with Jesus, people like Peter and, all of the other disciples. They watch him preach, teach. They watch him command the waves and the wind. But they still are amazed when Jesus perform a miracle. They still show at times when they lack faith. I am trying to say you could have personal encounters with God and still do not get it if that relationship ain't there.
That's a fact, man. Like, you got because the one thing that kept on standing out to me, like after I read it, was like, how long will you refuse to keep my commandments and my instructions? How long? It hasn't even been that long yet, but to me, I can just see God saying, not what more do I have to do for you, but you've already seen me do so much and you're still not getting it. I'm going to still keep on doing more for you. But to me, that question just rings for me personally. Like, how long am I going to refuse to keep God's commandments and his instructions? And I think that's a question we all need to ponder with. Like, how long? Because we know God calls us to do certain things and keep certain instructions, but sometimes we willfully ignore it. We sometimes cast it to the side, or we feel the Holy Spirit telling us to do something and we just say, nah, that can't be it.
Yeah, I know. That don't sound right.
We take the Jonah route saying, no.
I can't go there,
I'm going
man.
to just run away from it. But we don't have the Jonah experience where we have a big fish eat us, but we still run away from what God is calling us to do, or what we know God is telling us that we should be doing. And that line just there when I read it, like, how long are you going to refuse to keep my commandments and my instructions? To me, that rings true to this day.
For real, bro. And that coming from God, bro. Like with me, I could ask somebody how long it could take for you to understand something. Like if I trying to teach you, like, let's say like something complex or maybe something I think is simple, But I have to understand that your brain might be built different than mine, bro. I might be trying to teach you accounting and you just can't get it, bro. You see what I say? And I'd be like, bro, how long I got to teach you that? But what I can't do is go into your brain and see what your brain built of. God know our brain, God know our heart, and God know what he equip us to want and how what he equip our minds to be capable of. So if God's saying how long, that already implies that I've done enough for y'all to get this. But y'all choosing not to get this. God ain't Pharaoh the Hebrew hearts. He Pharaoh hearts. But let me tell you this. It take Pharaoh like 10 plagues for Pharaoh to give in. You understand what I'm saying? The Hebrews witnessed all 10 of these plagues. If Pharaoh cave by that 10 plague, why you ain't? Wait, that should have done 10 plagues should have been enough for you too. You understand what I'm saying? But guess what? All right, who feels it knows it. Right? Y'all already know what it feel like to walk through the Red Sea. This high water. You walking on dry land.
Y'all made a song about it.
You make a song about it, and that's the thing. You see how this begins, bro. Like I picture this like a movie, right? Like imagine like you just it's like people how people rejoice when they win a championship, or like when you just finish war. Like when you watch these old movies, when they finish a war, everybody just having fun and everybody excited after that, right? That's how I imagine this to begin. Everybody singing praises to God. You calling your enemies by name. You know what I'm saying? You talk about how they thought they was gonna do this and da. Now they in the middle of the ocean. You talking heavy. You understand what I'm saying? So like it almost like. It almost makes you think that y'all believe this. You understand what I'm saying? And like, you could speak with the tongue of men and of angels, but you don't have love. You only hear sound and brass or tinkling cymbals. You could have people who witness God. When Aaron just spoke to him, you see God, like, it's like God's presence was there. Like, you can see the light, like, but at the same time, y'all ain't feeling him. God there, but you ain't feeling him, like in the literal sense. I mean, in the figurative sense, like if someone say, but I ain't really feeling you, bro. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, I ain't connected to you at the same time. Why is that? That ain't a God problem at this point. God providing for you. He providing your needs, bro. I just think about me, bro. This past week, every day I pray, it was like all right, let me send in my list of requests type of thing. Like I ain't really talking, I ain't really reasoning with God. And at the same time, I feel like I had time to reason with God. I wake up late, all right. Let me go straight to work. You see what I saying? I working remotely, so going straight to work, that ain't means like going to work. You know what I mean? Like I can take time for God now, but it's so much things in my mind I distracted myself from God with.
Mercy.
You understand what I saying? But I said my list of requests, stay consistent. And when God say, like, ask and it shall be given to you, you understand? He tell us how to make our requests known to him.
Yep.
I doing that. I following this. You see what I saying? I praying. I fasting sometimes, like I have Thanksgiving. You see what I saying? I supplicate by giving you supplication, all that. But at the same time, bro, like I could say for a fact, someone who understands the importance and has taken initiative to develop my relationship with Christ. I don't water them plants every day. You understand what I'm saying? So I could see, and this from the human, I could see how they just ain't getting it. But who can't see that? God can't see why you just ain't getting it, because literally God know there's no reason you shouldn't be getting it. You see what I say? Like me, I can think of all the type of hypothetical reasons. Oh, maybe this, maybe that, but I don't have no proof.
I mean, my thing with them, and I know I might just be prolonging the podcast now, but my thing with them is, bro, and it ain't to give us a blind, ain't to make it harder on them, but you look up in the sky and you see a pillar of fire.
What that even look like, bro? Like
it's like to me, and I can understand God's frustration. I'm here with you. Like it ain't like, because our minds is kind of hard to comprehend this, but we don't know what it is to see a whole sea part. Like I tried chop the sea with my hand one time and ain't nothing happened.
Right?
You know, it's to see a whole, like we saw all these plagues. You know, every Egyptian household, someone died. Some of their flocks died. Nothing happened to you guys. You witnessed this. But his presence is still there with you. Even if you didn't witness that, you look up and you say, wait, why is it? Whatever pillar of fire looks like, however, whatever going on in your imagination, because I can't even describe what that would look like. But you see it. And even now when Aaron was talking to the whole Israelite community, God made sure whatever he did, he made sure they saw his presence there too again. So it comes again. How long will you refuse to obey my instructions?
And then at the same time, when you guys complain about something, God fixes it. The messenger of God tells you this is going to be fixed. And then you will know that this is the God who brought you out of Egypt. You all already know his name. But Moses basically saying, bro, but when God do this for you, you gotta put respect on his name, though. Like you gotta start caring about this guy. Like you can't just, he ain't your slave, like he ain't your genie. Like you understand what I'm saying? Like you asking him for worship, but he really serving you. This God, you know what I mean? Understand that, but I can't even go super hard on them because I think about my own personal life, bro. I understand how possible it is to be in the presence of God and still don't have a relationship with him, bro. Because to me, I thought that was impossible. Seeing is believing for me. You understand? That's how I feel, dog. But no, I understand. But like, think, bro, if someone tell me name like 3 miracles God do for me, I probably have to sit and think. I could name one straight off the bat. You understand what I'm saying? But I'd probably have to sit and think. But I saw God do many miracles for me that I've known and that I have addressed. You understand what I'm saying? But a lot of times, bro, when God do that good thing for you, like that was crazy and wow, God, I can't believe you helped me graduate from college, but we ain't even had the money to clear up for like 2-3 years back to back. We ain't had the money for it, but I outside of college. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time, once that go, it's like I don't even remember that. I forget about that.
We have so much of this consumerism mindset. It's like, what have you done for me lately, God?
Exactly. So them who they see all these plagues, they're like, bro, that was crazy. Then they just forget about it. Like think about the people who get to experience. Like if you like your favorite artist, you could look at them and be like, bro, I can't believe your mind is like this. But the people who live in the same house with them, they probably don't even care that much, bro. Like they see it so much that they don't even know how to value this. Like this to me, this regular to me. Like this ain't no high demand thing for me. I could hear you sing all day. You could play the piano. I know you're talented, but I ain't gonna respect you as much as the person who in Sweden who don't even know you, who like, bro, this is so crazy. You understand? So like, I feel like it's the level of complacency with them, and I don't think whether God physically here or not, that we exempt from that complacency. Because that does happen.
That is a fact.
Bro, just think about it, bro. Think about how much times God saved you and you won't even know.
Oh, personally, I know he saved me a lot of times.
You understand what I'm saying?
Bro, like experiences.
Like today, I wasn't paying attention, bro. And someone in front of me, someone like 2 cars in front of me, slam on brakes. The person behind them slam on brakes. I slam on brakes, but I catch it late, bro. I catch it late. Skirt. The person behind me, same thing. Skirt. Had to swerve out the lane. Right? But the lane next to us clear. So this person didn't have no reason why he slammed on brakes for real. You understand what I'm saying? And I just had to take a breath and like, God, thanks for that. One day, when my car was on my old car, when it was on its last leg, bro, I coming from somewhere, I can't even remember. Minding my business. Someone turned straight into me. I barely used my horn. I hung, and they swerved. They was gonna hit me. They was gonna hit my car. Bro, I drive off. I look at them. I ride past them like, what's wrong with you, right? Bro, you wouldn't believe they pull over. They had to take a moment. I could see that was traumatic to them. It was like an older lady. You understand what I'm saying? I could see that was like to me, I was just like, bro, that's crazy. But then I go up on my business. I didn't even think about it after that, right? Bro, and this was right on our street. Bro, this wasn't even. Anyway, this is right on our street, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. And that person pulled over, bro, and I could see she was stressed out bad, right? But in my mind, I was like, but suppose she did hit me, Jet. I probably wouldn't have died, bro, but I might have been seriously injured, bro. Ain't nobody into that. Ain't nobody into sitting in the hospital, bro. Ain't nobody into breaking arm or you can't walk no more. Ain't nobody into that, bro. Think about that, bro. I think about stuff what I've been through and I saw it. I think about my next friend who gone through the same thing or something similar and they end up at the short end of the stick.
Mercy.
I think about my boys who in jail, bro. You understand what I said? I think about my boys who wasn't even as mischievous as I feel like I was as a child who in jail. You understand what I said? I have close friends. I have friends who we was best friends in elementary school are not alive today, bro. You understand what I saying? Stuff like that. We ain't like I feel like stuff like that just go unnoticed. Like I have not been impacted by the pandemic, like my physical health. I've been sick twice. I've been had flu symptoms twice within the past 15 months. I don't know if it was that or not. I never take the antibodies test, but I still alive, boy. I have my full health right now, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Even the fact that you eat the love members who we have right now, that's a blessing, bro. All of this stuff is blessings, dog. But at the same time, we can still turn around and complain that we ain't nobody answer our application. We don't have a job. But guess what, bro? We ain't on us, but you don't starve it. But I feel like that's a prime analogy right there. But you eating every day. You don't know where your next meal come from. But then guess what? You didn't know where your last meal come from. Neither you get the last meal. But in college, bro, plenty times I didn't know where my next meal was coming from, bro. Nah, and that, like, I start off the board saying that ain't no big deal because when you in college, people can help people. But at the end of the day, God still allow people to help me. You understand? I end up getting fat in college. You feel me? I end up gaining weight. How you could not know where your next meal is and you getting fat, bro? You understand? That's just a blessing.
The blessings of God.
I don't feel comfortable living life on the edge. I'm not the best at preparing, but it's a bare minimum standard that I do to prepare. And I am not comfortable when it goes beneath that. I need to know this happening, that happening. You understand? But at the same time, that I know God is giving up. And sometimes God is saying, bro, I pulling this rug up under you so you don't rely on this, bro. I want you to rely on me.
And that's what we see just coming through everyone so far. Noah, Abraham. Abraham again.
Yeah, Abraham multiple times. You
But
understand
just,
what he's saying?
I mean, that's just faith. That's what faith is. Just believing in the unseen. Believing that God will provide even when you can't see it.
And that's a fact. And so, taking a look at these people, I feel like this is the most Israelites we've had up until this point. Because up until then, it was just like families or whatever, but now it's a nation. And we see the growing pains in the nation. And we see that the common denominator is just a lack of faith. God doing everything he needed to do, and God setting the chips up. They don't know that God want them to live the best life. They don't know that God want to give them this land that he prepared for them, that he promised Abraham. They don't know that. But at the end of the day, it's their faith that's keeping them back. And it's our faith as human beings, a lot of times, that keep us back. Trouble in the camps. Shortly after their departure from Egypt, the Hebrews find themselves hungry and thirsty in the middle of the desert. The Lord performs a few miracles and teaches them that the Lord is here to supply their every need. It is clear that the trials Israel faced were tests from God. But let's just say they didn't quite pass this test yet. But we'll talk more about God, the Israelites, and water from the rocks on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by Jayden Roberts, Isabelle Labbe, as well as your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.